Hey, what's up guys? We're gonna go ahead and capture the Snow Ape. So basically you just go ahead and capture him once you've got a level 30 cave lion. I'll show you what you get here once you catch him. Alright, once you catch him, you just gotta feed and tame him, which naturally, he's a giant ape. He can't be that bad, except he eats giant chunks of meat and looks terrifying. But yeah, just another day in Whiteout Survival, having to match the ring with the ring, and the ring has to go into the matchy ring, and that's just how it goes. And then of course we got to do it again. Ring, another ring, another ring. Oh, what will ever I do? Right, and then you get a friendship established, and then for some mysterious reason we have to ride him because he doesn't take too kindly to being tamed, unless of course you get on top of him and somehow he takes this. Honest to God, I don't know why we're riding a giant beast. It just sounds like a really bad idea, but here we are doing the unthinkable once again. Of course, with the cave line video, you guys got a feel for what we were dealing with last time, right? And as you can tell here, it's not much different. It's just more or less the same. I just think it's kind of funny. That said, like, whether you're one way or the other, right? You'll never get them on the first pass. You'd think you could, but you really won't. You almost always have to get them in 2 passes. It's just kind of a mystery to me. I wonder if a person could conceivably screw this up. I guess you could, but like it'd be pretty easy to. I don't know. It's not that hard. So I guess I could see it happening, but it just would surprise me if someone did. Anyways, of course, now we get the Snow Ape here, and he's all a gentle giant with giant purple hands and purple feet and purple face and all that fun stuff, right? And of course, you get the giant ape, and you're like, oh, yes. Well, of course, if you unlock him all the way, you gotta get him to level 10. So you gotta have that pet food, gotta have your books, if you don't already have your books. And you might notice that he increases your entire army's morale. He increases squad capacity, basically. As you might expect, if you're looking for something that's going to give you that extra couple thousand troop bonus, this is what you need them for. You need them for that extra bonus. But, of course, that said, right? You get them upgraded. I don't know. There's not really a lot to say other than the fact that being that the Snow Ape does have his skill effect, which increases your squad capacity by a set amount. Yeah, you got to get him up quite a ways. You got to get him all the way up to a level 100 to get 15,000, but still, that's pretty cool. You got to admit, this is one of the few that like I genuinely see an advantage to having him upgraded. But again, like anything, you compare this to troop attack bonus. This is why these two are as expensive as they are. It's because of those bonuses. Between a 10% troop attack bonus and a 15,000 or so squad capacity bonus, there's obvious advantages to having those. But to even get them like fully upgraded, you've got to save a lot of pet food, which means that you're going to need to basically spend some time working on. Not only are you going to be leveling their actual skills up, right? But then you've also got the other element of this, which is going to be doing your treasure spots and your pet adventures every day. Because again, that's where you're going to get a lot of those freebies, and you're going to develop them over time. And it's just one of those things you've just got to consistently do, unless you just want to spend $5, $10, or $20 on the pet food packs that come through. Which, if you're wondering, that is actually how you can go about it. That's what I ended up doing, just so I could show you guys the Snow Ape. But I mean, it gives you an idea of what you kind of have to expect. Of course, you might have noticed that we have some new heroes. Amos is one of the new infantry heroes. We're Gen 4. And so Gen 4 in particular, I can kind of give you an idea of what to expect with a lot of these guys. And if anything, let me just do this real quick. So we're going to go ahead and recruit him. And I'll give you an idea of kind of like what you're working with when you get these heroes recruited, which I think at a bare minimum, right? You ought to at least unlock them just because again, having another hero, leveling them up, that's just going to give you more hero armies to play with. And there's no reason not to do that. Now, you might be wondering what the exclusive gear's like. And again, like anything, you've also got Lynn, and then you've also got Reyna. Now, again, with any of these heroes, they all have their exclusive gear, and then they've also got the added bonus of, all their stuff that comes along with them, being that they're marksmen, and then one's an lancer, and then the other's an infantry hero. I'll go into more detail with the Gen 4 in the, basically for these particular heroes in this case. Basically with the heroes in particular, right? The one thing that you should know for the exclusives is, like, in the case of Amos, it's going to be Defender Troop health. And in the case of Lyn in particular, it's going to be, from my memory, I think it's Defender Troop lethality. And then in the case of Reyna, it's Rally Troop lethality, if I remember right, as far as the exclusives go. So it won't be until Gen 5 that you'll see a Rally Troop attack hero. For example, when you were looking at this guy, you might have noticed that he gives you Defender Troop attack. You don't see a Rally Troop attack hero. In the case of, like, Geronimo, for example, you don't see that guy until Hector, which is Gen 5. If you're kind of wanting to know, like, out of the three, which one do people typically pick up, if you're going to be working on, like, bear rallies and stuff like that, you're going to get Reyna, and that's just a given. If you're getting Lyn, that's for Defender Troop lethality. That's going to be helpful if you're, like, doing base defense and stuff like that. Obviously, any gen hero is always better than the previous generation to a certain extent. So obviously, if you don't already have Logan all the way, then having almost even a couple stars above is going to be better than your older Logan or your Flint by and large. If you have skipped on Gen 3 like I did, then picking up Gen 4 for Amos is not necessarily a bad idea, because this is Rally Troop health that you're going to get with his exclusive, assuming you get his exclusive. Now, his role as far as exploration goes, basically you have heal up, damage up, and then friendly damage taken down. So he goes into an invulnerable state. He's still going to be useful, I think, in terms of what you'll get out of him inside the expedition. So obviously anybody or everybody's going to probably use him if he's fully maxed out in the arena. That's just kind of a given with any generation of hero in the arena in particular. But as far as expedition skills go, you can see he's got extra damage up skills, so he's going to be helping you out, do a lot of damage. He kind of works in an interesting way in that he reduces damage taken by lancers and marksmen, and it's interesting. You can kind of see reducing damage taken by lancers and marksmen by 10% and infantry by 10%. So basically he's going to reduce the losses that you're going to be taking. He's going to increase damage dealt by 20%. And then he's also going to be increasing the attack by 12% for the infantry units. And then he's going to take the damage taken for your target up by 5%. So they're going to end up taking more damage whenever you're using infantry. So, I mean, in a way, Amos is kind of this happy choice in a way for, like, rally leads that are fixing to be kind of looking for a step up. Now, if you might be wondering, now, is he a replacement for Geronimo, or is he a better replacement for Logan, and vice versa? He's definitely better than Logan, I think, by and large, and Flint. But as to whether he's better than Geronimo, I would say, if you're comparing a fully maxed out Geronimo to Amos in particular, the current advice right now is that basically if you've got the first 4 stars and then the start to the 5th star is about the point at which Amos is then better than Geronimo. Fully maxed out Amos is going to be better than a Geronimo in terms of what you're going to get for core damage, which is what you're getting in your infantry and attack defense that you're getting from his actual core level. Now, obviously, because he's Rally Troop health as opposed to Rally Troop attack, that is, like, most people are probably going to dip with Geronimo in the early phase, but later on, you'll obviously see an advantage of probably 10 to 20, maybe even as high as like 30% with Amos. I don't know exact numbers right now because obviously I just unlocked them, but I would guess there's at least 20 to 30% in terms of core damage, which is usually the tipping point before Rally Troop attack bonus will have done you any value. And so for that reason, if you're kind of trying to decide whether I should be going into Amos, that's kind of my mentality of it. Otherwise, a lot of people will just skip Amos and wait until Hector, and then they'll dump into Hector as a replacement for Geronimo. In the case of like Lyn, in terms of expedition skills, you can tell there's obvious value here. There's debuffs, clearing all debuffs like freeze, stun, and so for Arena, she's obviously a huge boon to anybody that actually has her unlocked. In terms of damage up and enemy damage down, helpful, yes, but is that going to be enough to put her in the number 1 slot in marksman? There'll be better choices in Gen 5, but when you're looking at Gen 4, this is one of the better marksman heroes that you're going to have available. And then in the case of Reyna is an area of effect damage, and anything that does AoE in this game is, generally speaking, going to be top of the top in Arena. If you're wanting to know who's number 1 in Arena, chances are Reyna's going to be the character you're going to be diving for. In terms of Expedition, it's a 10% increase just on the bare minimum, 30% at max. There's a dodge probability now that gets thrown in here, plus a 200% increase to damage up. So in the case of Reyna, I think what you'll gain from her in terms of Lancer damage is probably going to be pretty helpful. But even just like minutia of players are going to find that this 4% dodging bonus is kind of an interesting one. And that's what we get into the realm of how things are going to play a little differently going into the next set of generation of heroes that we're going to get. But obviously every generation is going to be better. But hopefully that kind of gives you an idea. Basically, more or less, Reyna's the prized possession in Gen 4, in my opinion. Amos is a second, and then Lyn is your third. In terms of what you're going to gain from them, I think Lyn's got some exceptional abilities that are going to be unique in Arena, but Reyna has an argument for the AoE element of it. So for those of you out there that are looking for that replacement for Molly, that's going to be Reyna in that particular instance. But in terms of what you get out of Amos for rally troop, at least, in terms of rally troop health, and also kind of his role in being invulnerable in infantry, on the Arena side, it kind of becomes a toss-up over just, obviously as you build up to work these heroes up, it's going to take a lot of money to be able to even do that. So ultimately, if you're trying to decide, just know with this in mind that these are the things that you'll want to consider when you're looking at Gen 4. But a lot of people will say between generations 1 through 4, you can pick and select whichever heroes you want to unlock, but you almost certainly want to be saving up for your Gen 5 heroes. So your Gen 5 are just kind of be overarch across the board better than every generation prior to it. And it's really a stepping stone into what effectively ends up being the late game or in game of Whiteout Survival. But with any luck, hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what to look for and what to expect. Now that Snow Ape, with squad damage and army attack damage that you've got coming along with the new pets, you kind of have a layout to what you got coming down the road. And with any luck, hopefully this gave you kind of an idea or two of what to do and where to go from here. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.